A little bit of Music Monday news. So I had something planned for Song of the Day, and I actually had something different planned for Song of the Day. But Edwin tweeted me this, and I feel like this is important and timely. So we're gonna kind of divert and do something a little different. Yesterday was the 26th anniversary of Kurt Cobain's passing. Now this is boy, I got to be honest. That makes me. I've been a Nirvana fan most of my life at this point. I have been a Nirvana fan since the age of 10. So over half of my life, I have been a Nirvana fan. I'm still a huge Nirvana fan. I remember hearing the news that Kurt Cobain died. In fact, it was kind of a trippy experience, and it's really one of those things where it's like, oh boy, I missed the party. I saw Kurt Cobain on the TV, and I was watching it, and I was like, hey, what's that about? Because at the time, I developed a love for music very young. I got into a lot of the classic rock that my parents introduced me to. I was a big Jethro Tull fan since the age of about 4, and still am, by the way. And so I got really into music. So whenever I saw somebody with an instrument, I was automatically intrigued. Like, I was into it. I was like, what is this? This is awesome. I want to see this. I want to know what this is about, especially if it was something like my parents watching the news. Because, when you're a 10-year-old, the news is not something that you associate with something you're interested in. At least most 10-year-olds. I suppose there are some 10-year-olds that are already into news, and all power to them if they are. But I was not one of those 10-year-olds. I was not really paying attention to the news at the age of 10. I was very far from woke at the age of 10. I was 10. But anyway, so I see a guy with long hair and a guitar, and I'm intrigued. And I say, hey, what's that? And my parents go, he was a big rock star and he died. Drugs were involved. And that was all they told me. I was 10. And I was like, okay, that's a drag. About a week later, and I feel like it was like days later, but I'm sure more time had passed. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of remember segments of stuff from your childhood. You don't remember it all completely linear. It's not like all totally linear. So it could have been like weeks or even months. But the way I remember it, it was a very short period of time between when I saw the news that Kurt Cobain had died and a little short time after that. I didn't even know the name of the band. I didn't know they were called Nirvana. I didn't know anything. I just knew that this guy with long blonde hair who looked very troubled, I thought. I was like, that guy looks like he's deep, like he has something to say. Even as a 10-year-old, I got that vibe from watching Kurt Cobain on the video screen, on the TV screen. And of course, it was a segment from the classic Unplugged in New York appearance where Nirvana did their Unplugged show. It was one of the last known Nirvana shows. And, and it was televised. So a little while after that, my aunt, my mom's sister, gave me a cassette tape of some new music. She's like, hey, here's some music I'm into that I thought you might enjoy too. And on side 1 of the cassette tape was Nirvana's Unplugged in New York. And on side 2 of the cassette tape was the first Hootie and the Blowfish album. I forget what it was called, but it was the one with like Hold My Hand and all those tunes on it. And I listened to that Nirvana album, and it blew my freaking mind. I had never heard anything like it before. Kurt Cobain's voice was just so infectious. And this guy was yelling, like screaming almost, but he was doing it on pitch. And I was like, what is this? And it was stripped down, and it was raw, and the songs were passionate. And I was like, who are the Meat Puppets? These songs are great too. This is a David Bowie song, but I've never heard this David Bowie song before. What is this? Thought a young 10-year-old Ron. And I listened to that cassette tape over and over and over again. And then I listened to the Hootie and the Blowfish. I'm like, man, if that was good, I've heard this band on the radio too. I wonder what they're like. And I didn't connect with that as much. I didn't connect with that as much. What I started doing was I would listen to Unplugged in New York on my Walkman cassette player, or the whatever those were called, like the Walkman things. I would listen to it over and over again, and then I would also I would fast forward through Hootie and the Blowfish so I could listen to Unplugged again. That was how I did it, so I could listen to it over and over again. I wore that cassette tape out, and then I got Nevermind, and then I found out Kurt Cobain was that guy I saw in the news. The song that Edwin recommends is About a Girl. At the beginning of Unplugged in New York, About a Girl, of course, is on their Bleach album from 1989. When Unplugged in New York began, Kurt Cobain said, "This song is off our first record. Most people don't own it." Really cool way to start a show, by the way. And they went into About a Girl. About a Girl, in my opinion, it's one of those songs, if someone was like, "Ron, make a list of what you would say are perfect pop songs," About a Girl would be on that list, without a doubt. It is such a beautifully constructed song. It has more hooks than a tackle box, and the lyrics are just haunting and seemingly beautiful, and it just weaves throughout like a beautiful pattern. No gimmicks, no frills, no spectacle, just a beautiful hook. A passionate song that is, in fact, about a girl. It's got a sense of humor about it. I can't see you every night for free. It's when Kurt was dating a girl, and they were having some conversations and some disagreements about, "Hey, I don't know if the band's paying your share of the rent, dude." And Kurt was like, "I'm pretty sure it is." And it's a song about that. A very playful, fun song, and a beautiful song. Song of the day, Nirvana, About a Girl. Check it out. If you're checking it out for the first time, it's a good introduction to Nirvana. If you're a Nirvana fan like me, it's never a bad idea to revisit it. It's a beautiful song.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your